Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Success Spotlight. I am so glad to be here with everyone. Today, I have a special guest with us. I have Kim and her husband, Ted, who are joining us. Kim is a graduate of the Freedom from Migraine Method Complete, and they're both here to share their journey, their story, because as we know, migraines doesn't just affect one person. Migraines affects the whole family. So I'm so happy to have you both here today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to dive right in and I'm going to let you two figure out who's going to talk when and where.
Okay. Okay.
And if anybody watching has any questions, please dump them in chat and we'll make sure that we answer those. So, Kim, as I mentioned, you did our Freedom from Migraine Method Elite program. That is our highest level program
I
because
needed it.
so much going on that we're going to talk about. But I want to start with the fact that you're a nurse
Yes.
and you have so much medical knowledge. Did you feel that you had really tried everything and there was nothing more that could help you?
Yes, I did. I knew I was missing something, but I didn't know what it was. And I finally realized I had done so much research
Mhm.
and I had gone for 30 some odd years to like a specialty migraine clinic in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And Dr. Saper is like head of the clinic. And he lectures all over the world on migraines. And I just finally realized they don't really know.
Yeah, yes,
All they know
you
how to
did.
do is give you drugs.
Exactly, exactly. So you knew all that. You knew that they were just, you're going to this clinic, they're giving you drugs. He's a massive specialist. What made you
Yeah.
finally decide that, you needed to get more help?
Well, after I got onto Medicare, they weren't covering the out-of-pocket expenses at all. And
Okay.
it just got super, super expensive. So I decided that I had a Medicare Advantage
Okay.
over at Henry Ford Hospital where I used to work. And so I went through and started seeing the neurologists there and having them try to treat me. And I was working with the pain clinic. And I had Lyme disease. I had this myofascial pain syndrome. I had fibromyalgia. I'm saying I had because all of that, the pain is gone. You know, Inflammation, number one issue. But then, to finally tweak the migraines, I really needed your help. And I really didn't know until I started the program.
Yeah, so that was kind of hard for you, right? I mean,
Terrible.
here you were with the migraines, massive pain. I remember the first time I talked to you, you were barely talking, in a chair. I think you had ice on your head and probably something on your neck and the whole thing. I think we actually stopped your first call and then maybe did another call afterwards,
I
but
think we did, yeah.
um
Because I
how
just
hard to
was,
take a chance on something else?
well, it wasn't hard at all because the last thing that they wanted to do was put me on an IV ketamine drip. And I just said, no, and I had even considered the Reed procedure. Have you heard of that?
Hmm.
Where they put like,
Yep. And I was actually
leads up
chatting.
into,
I think it was
yeah,
someone today or yesterday that I was chatting with who they wanted to do the Reed procedure on. Yeah, I mean it's like 20 to $50,000 not covered by insurance.
I know. And it was like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't have wires going into my brain and some kind of a implanted like pacemaker device
Yeah.
sending, zaps up to my brain. Like
Yeah.
that's going to get rid of the migraines.
Yeah. Oh, looks like Barbie did
Yeah,
that.
Barbie said I did
Different
that,
guy than
just a
Reed.
different,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we know you dealt with migraines for years, right? Decades.
Oh, yeah,
And you even dealt with
30,
Lyme
32
disease
years.
too,
Yeah.
right? Lyme disease on top of that. So
Yep. And
you obviously,
fibro.
yep, did the program, did a lot of the things. And I know one of the things for you was rebound migraines.
Yes, yes. And
So,
and that was from all the medication I was on.
yeah, absolutely. So, how did addressing that and finding the right support actually improve your health?
Well, it because I had so much going on. I had already switched over to an anti-inflammatory diet. I had
Mhm.
already cut out gluten, lectins, nightshades. I was like, I pretty much cut out everything I could think of. And then it was like, in the program you say, what one thing do you want to give up? Well,
Hmm.
I'd given up everything already. The only thing I really hadn't cut quite out yet was the sugar. I used to allow myself a little dessert. And
Okay.
so then I cut out the sugar
So
because the
Ted, did you feel
sugar,
like you weren't eating anything? Did you feel like you ever get to eat any food? It sounds like Kim cut everything out.
Oh, well, no, I'm pretty much open as far as my diet. I'll eat
Okay.
anything. So
So
that's
you were
never
there
been
to
a problem.
support her.
Oh, absolutely.
so it was
Nice.
really hard cleaning out my pantry because I can't throw away food that other people are eating.
Yeah.
So I kind of have a little corner cabinet where I keep my stuff.
There you go. There you go. But obviously, being able to make changes in the program and being able to cut back down on the medication, you notice that that made a big difference in your
Oh my
overall
God.
health.
Yeah, like I was starting to say, it took about 4 months into the program
Hmm.
before I finally noticed that the intensity of my migraines was going down.
Hmm.
With the Lyme disease, it's like a little spirochete bacteria and it crosses the blood-brain barrier and it caused massive neural inflammation,
Hmm.
which was what was causing the migraines. So
Hmm.
I never had like a prodrome or, anything. I mean, I just had it 24/7, 7 days a week, all the time. It
Yeah.
never went away.
Yeah.
Um, so it was like I was at the end of my rope
Yeah.
when I called you. I was up to try anything, anything but surgery, anything but more drugs.
Yes. Yes. And I was just going to say that when we talked, you were starting to try to cut back on a medication that's,
Yes, I was already coming off of a benzodiazepine, which I
yeah.
had been on for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I'm still weaning off of that. That's how slowly I've been doing it.
Well, you
Um,
have to. That's a serious medication that can cause serious implications on you when you do try to wean off, even though you know that that's the best thing for your body. You
yes,
can't just do it a flip of a
no,
switch, which is
yeah.
why
So,
I think it's so important when women go to start a medication, they really need to do
oh,
their due diligence and think about it before you put that first pill in your mouth because not everything is super simple to get off of. And I understand, him and I both totally understand that sometimes we need medication to survive.
well,
While
I
you're
take my
working on
thyroid.
keeping,
I'm
yeah,
taking thyroid medication because I'm hypothyroid.
yep,
Um, but other than that, I have some IBS-D issues that I'm still trying to work out. I think I have SIBO. I finally got a doctor, a functional medicine doctor that I'm going to see on May 5th. So,
there you go. There you
so
go.
it's like I'm finally, and hopefully I'll get the SIBO test and they'll tell me whether I have methane or,
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
so I'm still struggling with that. Um, but so a lot of the times, I'm really not eating much because I'm just so tired of the diarrhea.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's definitely like the second piece, right? When we
Yeah.
work through the program, any one of our programs, because we have a couple different levels based on what people need, we're working on the foundational approach.
Yeah.
And for the majority of women, when they're done with the program, they're right where they want to be, with their migraine freedom journey. But there are some women like you, Kim. I mean, you were severe. When I say that, Kim could barely get out of bed, this is not a joke.
Mm.
So it's not surprising that your journey continues as you keep chipping away at some of the other things that probably ended up happening to you due to the chronic inflammation, due to the amount of medication you were taking. There's a risk for everything, which is why I said a few minutes ago, even though I understand that some people have to take meds short term for pain because the pain is so bad, you have to do your due diligence before you put that pill in your mouth and make sure that it's the right step for you because there are side effects. There are long-term side effects to taking.
Yes.
So we're so glad that you're weaning your way off, feeling
Yeah,
so
I'm
much
I'm getting
better.
really low now, so
Yeah.
it's like, I'm
Absolutely. Well, I want to bug your husband for a few minutes if it's okay,
please.
because he's so sweet sitting here, and, to talk to us today. So, Ted, what was it like watching your wife transform from daily debilitating pain to the woman
Oh,
she is
it,
today?
it was like a miracle.
Yeah.
We had always been happy and healthy and very physically active. We spent a lot of time camping and canoeing up in Canada, and we used to do a lot of that when we were first married. And then once Kim got sick, plus we had the kids to deal with, so
Mhm.
we were hiring nannies.
Because I could not function.
Yeah.
I had an infant and a toddler, and I got Lyme disease. I got bit by a tick, and they kept telling me 32 years ago, we don't have Lyme disease in Michigan.
Oh,
Well, I got deer in my backyard all the time.
yeah, me too. Me too. So Ted,
Yeah,
did you just
so
feel like she wasn't even there sometimes?
yeah, it was terrible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And how is life like now in comparison?
Oh,
Oh,
it's wonderful.
I'm trying to let the joy back into my life, and I just, leased a new car, and it's like just getting out and walking and being in nature, and it's like I'm waking up like Rip Van Winkle kind of thing, you know? And
That's
I'm
amazing.
like getting back and with my children, and I just feel like I miss so much. I
Yeah.
miss so much, and I can't get it back.
No, but I
Yeah.
always recommend we just look to the future.
Yes.
You learn from the past, but it is what it is.
So I really want to tell people that are out there, don't wait. Please don't wait. Don't waste your life being suffering and what I went through. He was my rock. He really was. He was the only
Sounds
one
like
that kept me sane.
I've got a lifetime contract.
it. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that. So Ted, when Kim joined this program, were you worried that it wasn't going to work?
Um, I guess I wouldn't say worried. It would be ambivalent because we tried so many things that
Mhm.
didn't work. It
Mhm.
could be like, oh, well, this is another thing. But since nothing else worked, we kept trying stuff. I guess I tend to be the eternal optimist that medical science and things will continue to evolve, and sooner or later, somebody would figure something out.
And yet, this was really returning to a more natural lifestyle, the
Mhm.
way humans are supposed to live,
Yeah.
you know? Instead of living on synthetics and, processed food and all the terrible things that we do that we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess the other thing that I thought was amazing is that salt was kind of the answer.
Yeah, that was kind of my missing puzzle piece. I was constantly becoming hyponatremic, and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a really big piece of what really, like even now, like I still have the migraines, but as soon as it starts to get worse, I do my salt and the water, and I'd rather do the salt shots because I want
Yeah,
to
well,
just get it down and over with.
exactly. I mean, electrolyte symmetry is super important, and
It
it's
is.
important to
And
figure out.
potassium, I try to
Yeah,
make sure I get my potassium in.
yeah,
So yeah, electrolytes were really, really important to me. I had no idea that was so important.
yeah, and balancing it with everything else, right? I think
Yes.
that's the key thing is that there's a lot of talk online lately about, oh, just add a few sprinkles of salt to your water, or go buy Element, or go buy Relight, or go buy, I can't remember what the
Oh,
Walmart
there's so many of those out
popular.
there.
But that's not just it. You have to figure out what your body needs, why your body needs it, and how to use it in the right way. Because if you don't, you could actually either one, not getting any results, or two, you could be making yourself worse.
Yeah.
So, for those of you that are listening and watching this, please take heed that it's not just as
Yeah.
simple as going, all right, I'm just going to down
No,
this
no,
sodium.
you have to have the proper assistance
Yeah,
to
but then
help you do
once you
that.
do, along with the other five key areas,
Yes.
make a big difference. I
Like I'm
people
still
always ask
working.
me, like, if there's one thing you can do, what's that one thing? And I'm like, well, there really isn't. Because even
No,
somebody might think it's this or think it's that, it's really the whole piece
it
together.
is. You got to have all six pillars. And I'm still tweaking some of them. Like
Mhm.
my sleep is still a little bit of a problem. I just have what they call global insomnia. So I just have such a hard time falling asleep. So
Mhm.
I've been trying other things to try to, just get me tired enough to fall asleep. Because I just sit there and I stare at the ceiling.
Well, think about how many years you had of dis-ease.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many
So,
years, and sleep is one of the things that I was actually talking to I was on a coaching call today talking to a client about this. She's like, I want to fix my sleep today. And I go, well, the way you fix
no.
your sleep is fixing your electrolytes, is fixing your nutrition, is fixing your exercise, is fixing your toxicity,
Yes, the
it's fixing
toxins.
your mindset. And when
Yep.
you do that, your
Oh, the
sleep just starts getting
mindfulness
better.
yeah, that was really something I needed that I didn't know that I needed, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, your program was incredible, and I keep I keep telling everybody who have like a neighbor, his sister has terrible migraines. So I said, please tell her to go on the Women's Freedom from Migraine on Facebook and just listen and listen to Debbie. Go see her podcast. Her podcasts are free. The Women's Migraine is free. You just can't keep living with migraines.
No, no. I mean, that's the sad thing is that so many people think that they have to, and I'm not sure where the disconnect is whether it's coming from, the conventional medicine side where they're just trying to help. So they're trying to give you a med to make you feel better. I don't know how we can get the education out more, but I think it's so important for people to realize that,
Especially me being a nurse
yeah,
and having gone through all of that. It's changed my whole perspective in terms of, the only good use for Western medicine is if you're going to go there for like a broken bone. But if you have a chronic disease like I did, so many chronic diseases.
yeah, yeah. And I love both. I love Eastern medicine. I love Western medicine. I think there's times
There's
that
time for
are
each.
both appropriate. But I think the key thing is no matter which avenue you're going, we have to remember that we are in charge of our health.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
have to remember that we can make decisions that can make our health worse or our health better. Now, we still might need some extra support. We still might need a little bit, my husband's type 1 diabetic, and,
Mhm.
he will always need some extra support. I do have Hashimoto's. I take thyroid med. I will always need extra support. But if I wasn't in charge of my health, I would be in a totally different situation.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I think that's the key to remember is there's a time and place for both, and we need to be educated on what that looks like, and we need to be educated on how we can do our best. I kind of always talk about it like a car. You can buy a brand new car and you have a choice. Do you take care of it? Do you wash it? Do you get the oil changed? Do you have it checked, once or twice a year? And if you do, the car's probably going to last a long time. But if you get the car and you don't, what's going to happen?
It's gonna fall apart. He's been an engineer at General Motors for like
Oh, there you go. I picked the
47.
right analogy then.
Yeah, great analogy.
Right.
Oh man. All right. Anything else that either one of you want to say to this lovely group that are listening to you today?
Oh gosh. Um, Never give up hope. There is hope. And uh just don't wait. Um, yeah, don't wait and just stop freaking out about your migraines and just tell yourself, I'm going to make myself better.
Yeah.
I've got to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Ted, let's finish with you about what you're enjoying. What are you enjoying having Kim back to normal? Or is she
Oh,
driving you crazy? No, I'm just kidding.
you know what? I enjoy just having our days together and having fun and doing good things again. And we
We're
used to
planning on
do,
going up to Canada this August. Yeah.
see, when we were younger, when we were first married, so back in our 20s, a lot of my family is in Canada.
Okay.
And a couple hundred miles north of Toronto, they've got cottages up there. And Kim and I would go up there for a couple of weeks, and we would canoe back into Algonquin Park, and Kim could help
I
would
would
carry the
portage.
canoe with me.
Yeah.
And then we would camp out in the middle of there, make sure no bears were around. And we did that all the time.
And we
would
lived
always,
on the fish that we caught.
yeah. Well, and
You
around
guys.
around home, we used to go on long bicycle rides,
Oh
15
yeah,
miles or so. We have a lot of bike trails out here in Northwest
northwest suburbs of
where
Detroit.
we
Yeah.
are. So yeah, so we used to do that a lot of active stuff, and so now that we're getting back to
I'm
be
so
able to do
excited
it,
to go back up to Canada, up
yeah.
to the cottage.
So,
Yeah.
so this August, for the first time in many years, we're
We're
going
going.
back up to the cottage.
So
Oh,
exciting.
that's so great.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, how amazing is that? And August has got to be a great time of year there.
It is. It's the best. Yeah, that's the best time to go.
It's perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a wonderful place. It's by a national provincial park called Algonquin Park. We're real close to that, and that's where we like to go in, and we canoe back in and go fishing and camping. It's just a
Oh,
wonderful place.
That's so great. I love that. Well, you guys have made
so
me so happy today just looking at your transformation and hearing about your story. Because you have
thank
really,
you so much, Debbie. You have no idea. Well, you
oh,
do. You know how you change people's lives.
I
And
think
and thank you to all of the administrators, all the team. Your team is incredible. I love them all. They're all just wonderful ladies. And I couldn't have done it without your support and the support of the community and the other women that were going through it with me. It was just incredible. It really was. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to thank you enough.
oh, well, being here today, seeing the smile on your face, send me some pictures of your trip in Canada.
Oh, I will. I will.
That is thanks enough. And I agree. I love my team. They're amazing. There's
They
no way I
are.
could do this by myself. I have a team of 10 amazing
They
people.
are. They
Um,
are super,
they
super
are.
wonderful.
They are.
Mm.
And all the coaches that coach anyone in the Freedom from Migraine Method, just so all of you know, all of them have gone through this program. They all had migraines, stories, that are similar to Kim's, and were able to find their migraine freedom utilizing the protocol that we teach. So we want to make sure that anyone that's helping you, it's not like walking up to a neurologist that's never had a migraine before. We want to make sure they have the full experience and understand. And I think that's what makes this team so great is that they can not only know physically how
Barbie, I
you
live by
feel,
this protocol.
they can understand emotionally how you're feeling, which I think is a
Yes.
key part of it and why we have
Thank
such
you
a great.
guys so much, all of you. I love you all.
Aw, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. So greatly appreciate it. Appreciate you both. And again, just enjoy life. Love
Thank
every
you.
minute of it. Oh, oh, you guys are so sweet. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Here's to your migraine freedom, and we'll see you in the group. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.